All the things created in the universe by God and on the earth by men has a nature. Depend on us how we accept it. The mountains, rivers, cars, other people, technology, and others are going to make us happy or not, depending on the point of view that we have of them. People do everything to reach happiness. We refuge in activities such as religion, politics, art, music, and also drugs, alcohol, sex, and others. Most of us ignore that happiness is not a feeling that is gotten with material things, momentary emotions, or by belonging to a social class or another. We ignore that happiness is a feeling that is cultivated like a seed that is planted and then harvest the fruit. Many of us also ignore that happiness depends only on ourselves, on how we cope in our environment and how we take the things that occur there. Reaching complete happiness is as simple as knowing the nature of things. If you are on the way of searching for happiness and you have failed in the attempt because you have not done the right thing, and you wonder, how is happiness cultivated? Stay with me, and I'll explain 3 things you should do on the way to happiness. The first thing is to know ourselves, to know our strengths and weaknesses, virtues and disabilities. The ancient Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus said, "The most difficult thing in life is to know oneself. The easiest is to talk about others. To know yourself you must stop and do a self-analysis, place yourself in the place you are, how you feel in that place, determine what your values are, where you are going and where you want to go. If where you are does not align with your values, does not allow you to move forward, does not make you happy or does not satisfy you, then it is time for you to consider changing it, because change is also part of the way to happiness." Most people punish themselves by staying in places or with people that don't make them happy, just for not facing their fear of change. Fear of being alone, fear of not being accepted elsewhere or by other people. Big mistake. Happiness does not depend on anyone but you, not on the acceptance or opinion of others. Epictetus, another great Greek philosopher, said, "It is not the opinions of others that affect us, but the way we react to those opinions." This reflection points us to the fact that what people say or think about us may or not affect us, depending on the importance we give to them. We believe that listening to the opinions of others is sometimes good. To a certain extent it is, but depending on who the opinion comes from, with it also come prejudices and negativities that, far from helping you, sink you deeper into your abyss of doubts. Believe me, there are few people around you who are really happy about your achievements, but there are many who will try to block your way when they find out that you are looking for something. Therefore, it is not healthy to share your intentions or goals with everyone. If you are one of the people who likes to listen to advice before starting something, then I tell you, there is no better advisor than a good book or a documentary. Books does not criticize, show envy, or make negative omens. So take refuge in reading the topics that interest you and forget the opinions of others. It is also essential that within your self-analysis you clearly define what your strengths and weaknesses are. Being aware of what we can and cannot manage prevents us from undertaking things that are out of our power. There is a saying that says, "Everyone is good for something." If you still don't know what you're good for or what you master easily, set out in search of it. Surely at some point in your life, you have done something that you loved and that you mastered easily. Identify it and dedicate yourself to undertaking what you are really good for. Because you are going to enjoy the process. You are going to avoid frustrations and happily. You are going to take advantage of the result. Know and study in detail what your weaknesses are so that when they arise, they do not cause you any type of discomfort because you are already aware of them. If possible, try every day to strengthen those things that you consider your weaknesses. That is also enjoyed and brings happiness. By defining your weaknesses, you are accepting that it exists. We all have weaknesses. There is nothing wrong with that. A good point on the way to achieving happiness is to accept our weaknesses, not to cry or repress ourselves about them, but to study them and look for the ways to improve them. Remember that nothing and no one is perfect. Who seeks happiness through perfection undertakes an infinite way. There is not a humanly possible way to achieve perfection. If you think that you do not have any innate ability or that you haven't done something that you remember at the moment, then dedicate yourself to learn how to develop some new skills. The time you dedicate to things that are not at all positive for you, such as spending hours and hours on social media watching what others are doing, propose to develop a new skill. On many websites and YouTube channels, you will find a lot of free technical courses and tutorials that will help you to learn something new that you set your mind to. The time you don't dedicate to improve your situation is wasted time that you will never get back. Become yourself and someone realistic about your situation. Avoid comparing yourself to someone else because everyone has a different situation than yours. Avoid trying to be like the famous people you follow on social media because they also have their situations and only show fake social media happiness. Focus all your strength on yourself, on being better every day, and on achieving what you have set out to do. Propose yourself to do and achieve things that really align with your values and are within your reach. Set short-term goals and long-term goals. Study your goals clearly and define the way you will take to achieve them. Don't forget that, to travel 100 kilometers, you must first travel 1, then 5, then 50 until you reach 100 kilometers travel. Never force yourself to carry more than your capacity allows you to. Keep always in mind the saying, happiness is not based on having much, but on needing less. The fewer things you need, the more harmonious and peaceful your life is. If you are an employee with an average salary, never incur to expenses that exceed half of what you earn. This gives you room to save and do things you like, such as hiking, going on vacation, and buying necessary things that you really enjoy having. If you incur expenses that exceed your salary on non-essential things, days of anguish will surely await you, because, nowadays, everything costs money, and if you do not have it to face the unforeseen events, then many calamities will happen, and you will be far from be happy. We are used to buy things because they are on fashion, not because we need them or they make us happy. But fashions are always changing. This means that what you buy for fashion today, in a couple of months it will be not longer satisfactory or useful to have because it has already gone out of style. However, the thing you buy to cover a need will be useful to you as long as its usefulness is possible. If you buy something because it is on fashion, soon you will have many things accumulated, but none of them cover any need. And when you do a cash calculation, you will notice that you have spent most of your money on things that you do not need, and you will be forced to continue buying and buying. And on that same way, your happiness moves away from your reach, because you will have to dedicate more effort and money to acquire other things. The great Greek philosophers used to say that living a simple life is more satisfying and involves less worry. Isn't it easier to choose which pants to wear when you have 3 than when you have 20? Obviously, today's prevailing consumerism makes this question sound somewhat ridiculous, because we have been inducted to believe that having more things is better. Well, we must change that mentality if we want to be happy. In sum, focus on yourself and the things that satisfy you and make you happy. Don't give importance to what others think about you. Evaluate yourself as a person and adopt positions to be better every day. Don't be distressed by things that are out of your control. Don't be afraid to undertake or fear to fail. The process is as good and satisfying as the result. You and only you are responsible for your life, and no one is obliged to do anything for you, nor does anyone owe you anything. Living a good and happy life only depends on you. The second thing to do to be happy is to know the nature, the events that occur and the things that surround you. That is, recognizing the advantages and disadvantages of daily events. This will provide you with an important starting point on your journey in search of peace and happiness. Understand that everything created by God and men has a reason of being. In your decision to be happy, dedicate yourself to study your living and working environment, the things there are and what they are useful for. In this study, you will realize that everything by nature has positive points and negative points. Knowing and accepting the positive and negative that each thing has, gives us peace on mind and helps us to be better with ourselves. Within these, there are points that you can control and others that you cannot control. For example, We are in hot season. Heat is a natural event that we cannot control. What positive or negative does heat bring? Heat brings constant sweating, discomfort, sleepless. In hot season, you can go on excursions to the countryside, to the mountains and others. Don't like the heat? Just because you don't like it, it doesn't mean it's going to stop being hot. You can't control that. What can you do? Two things. One is to become bitter and suffer because of spending those hot days and cursing the Creator for this. Two, find the ways, which are under your control, to enjoy the heat. Which ways? During the day, you can take shelter under a tree, go on a hike to the river or the beach, and do outdoor activities. At nights, you can purchase a fan or an air conditioner, if your financial conditions allows it. Epictetus said, "It is not the things themselves that bother us, but how we react to them." It means that your opinion and actions on the events around you are good or bad, depending on the point of view you see or take them. You can either choose to be bitter and distressed by the stifling heat, or you can enjoy the open air activities it offers. Let's say that you want to buy a car. What is the nature of a car? Provide you a comfortable and fast way of transportation alone or with your loved ones. It is also at nature to get damaged, consume fuel, get into accidents. None of that is under your control. What can you control upon buying a car? Its year, model, brand, power, color, and capacity. You never should get angry if the car fails, consumes a lot of fuel, or if at some point an accident happened, because all that was within the possibilities when you decided to buy a car. If you are aware of that, when it happens, it will not cause you any dislike because you already had it planned. Make this saying your own. Do things right in the present, and you won't have to worry about the future. That means, take all precautions and study all the possibilities of all the things you are going to undertake or acquire. Do this and nothing will seem surprising when it happens, but you will see it as something natural that you already had planned. Do you know the phrase, "If you don't like thorns, don't accept roses"? It means to take the good in things and to accept the bad as something natural and adapting to it in a good way. Apply these examples to other things and events in life, and you will see that they are easier to handle and will not bring you any type of displeasure. In sum, the world is a creation of God to house all types of animate and inanimate beings, and all beings are nourished by the goodness it offers. Humans has created the machines and technologies to make things easier for us. Knowing the use and functioning of everything that surrounds us will give us some peace. What should we do then? Study everything in our environment, how it works, and how we use it to our benefit. If there are fruit trees around your place of residence, then take care of them because you can get shade and fruits from them. Are there no fruit trees? Plant them, but you must also keep in mind that you are going to deal with the dry leaves and branches that will fall off. How does that benefit you? That in hot times you can take refuge from the sun, and in the fruit season you will save money. We finish this item with this phrase. Bad luck does not exist if you know the way you are going on. Now, we got to the third item. It is adopting philosophy of living. Adopt a philosophy of living that is according with your values as a person, according to your economic possibilities. A defined philosophy of living that helps you to improve yourself every day and on every way. What is a philosophy for living? A philosophy of living is to live under certain parameters based on reason, justice, honesty, and other. Mental health and serenity are not achieved without practicing these values. Every good or beautiful thing has also something pleasant or unpleasant. This means that nothing is 100% bad or 100% good. It is up to you the level of importance and attention you pay to it. When adopting a philosophy of life of justice, honesty, and empathy, you must always act in such a way that you assign to each thing what is fair by reason and by nature. The Bible says, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." That is right what it refers to. To achieve this, you must stop to analyze each thing, or undertaking it, before trying to do it. This way you can determine what is right for each thing. Don't forget that you do everything for yourself, not because of what others say or think. Because if you are looking for living in calm and happiness, none of them depend on anyone but you. Think always about this idiom. The most difficult thing for a person is to know himself. The easiest thing is to talk about others. What I mean is that if you act with justice and honesty in all your interventions, the opinions of others do not deserve any type of attention, much less concern. I tell you that anyone who says something negative about what is unfair and your philosophy of a justice life has not room for wasting your time giving importance to what an unfair person says or thinks about you. You must accept everything in a good way according to its nature. In other words, never expect a fair opinion from an unfair person. Not because she is unfair, you should repudiate her or hold a grudge against her, but accept the fact that she is unfair and try to interact with her as less as possible. If you are forced to always be in interaction with her, then accept the fact that you are going to hear and see unfair things and events. You adopt that position, and for sure none of their injustices will affect you, because you are already prepared to deal with it. This is how you put into practice the following phrase: do not be yourself mortified by things that do not depend on you, but accept them in a good way and adapt to live with them. In sum, the only way we can achieve happiness is by knowing and accepting the nature of everything created. Be aware of the good or bad things that we can face when embarking on a way. It is our duty to enjoy the good and accept the bad without it affecting us. The fact of being alive gives us the opportunity to enjoy the perfection of creation, the goodness of the world, but it is also a fact that we must accept is that being alive also has risks of contracting illness and having a lack of material things. If we see things that way, we will surely enjoy complete happiness. For now, that is all. Thank you for listening me, and if you liked it, then subscribe and follow my channel. See you next time.